Mishnah Torah. Parshas Eikev. Welcome to Parshas Eikev. It's the third parsha in the book of Devarim.
Also known as Mishnah Torah.
Mishnah Torah means a repetition of the Torah, but it's more than just a review of the previous 4 books.
It's those points in the Torah Moshe Rabbeinu decided that need to be repeated again and again and again.
In preparation of a new era, a new generation entering the Holy Land.
Our parsha continues with Moshe's heartfelt address to Bnei Yisrael. Like a loving parent, he rebukes his nation and offers them words of inspiration.
He shares with them some behind-the-scenes moments of the 10 Commandments.
Moshe continues to teach new mitzvos, including tefillin and mezuzah.
We'll also introduce an amazing rabbi who lived over 800 years ago.
Because of a heavenly dream, he decided to pack his bags and travel from France to Spain, convincing his fellow Jews to wear tefillin and put up mezuzahs.
Did he succeed?
Did he remember to bring his passport?
Did he learn Spanish?
Did he invent French toast?
How about French fries?
Did Rabbi Moshe move back to France?
For answers to at least some of these questions and to discover lots more, hold on tight.
Get ready for the Parshas Eikev ride.
I can't wait to find out.
All the mitzvos. Moshe turned to his people, took a deep breath, and continued his speech. Eikev, because you will keep all the mitzvos of the Torah, even the small ones that you might treat lightly and trample with your heels. Hashem will bless you in abundance.
Imagine the president asked you to do something for him, even a small task, such as bringing him or her a cup of water.
Wouldn't you rush to do it and consider it a privilege?
Yes!
Absolutely.
How much more so if we are asked by the King of Kings to do his mitzvos?
What a great honor!
Baruch Hashem! Thank you so much, Hashem!
Oh, thank the one above. We have much to be grateful for.
Simple, a shazak scenario. And now, Bnei Yisrael, says Moshe, what does Hashem want from you? Just to fear him, follow in all his ways, love him, and serve him with all your heart and soul.
Sounds simple enough.
What? Simple enough? Fearing Hashem, loving him, serving him heart and soul sounds like an almost impossible task.
Should I be worried?
Something that only very holy people can accomplish.
And another question.
What does now Bnei Yisrael mean?
What's this now all about?
To understand this, it's time for a Shazak Scenario!
Okay, class.
Calls Professor Filbert Feinstein on the first day of the advanced physics course he is teaching.
Get out your notebooks and write the laws of quantum physics.
But, Professor,
Chimed in the 120-plus students in his classroom.
we don't know a thing about quantum physics. It's the most complicated subject ever.
Aha! Replies the professor with a smile.
It's hard for you now at the start of the course, but this assignment isn't due for another 10 months. By the time you complete my physics course, it will be simple. You will become quantum physics experts.
Back to Moshe Rabbeinu in the desert. Moshe Rabbeinu, the master teacher, had been guiding and speaking to the Jewish people for 40 years.
They were about to graduate Moshe's course in Amunah, in faith, and serving Hashem.
Va'ata Yisrael. Now, my people, Bnei Yisrael. Moshe is telling the Jewish people, after all the lessons I taught you these past 40 years while we were together in the desert, I am confident that you have graduated. Now, my people, Bnei Yisrael, fearing Hashem, following in all his ways, loving him, and serving him with all your heart is not hard. In fact, it is quite easy. Teach and be taught. And you shall teach your children.
Look carefully.
Nothing about you yourself learning Torah.
This is because Hashem wants a person's Torah learning career to start at the earliest stage of life possible, an age when one cannot learn on their own. In the words of the wise Rambam,
From when is a father obligated to teach his child Torah? From the time he begins to speak, he teaches him. Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
Moshe taught us Torah.
And Shema Yisrael.
Mishnah Torah, Laws of Torah Study, Chapter 1, Halacha 6.
So how old is that?
Well, when did you start to talk?
When you were 1 or 2 years old?
Older?
3 or 4 years old?
Even older?
12 years old?
The Tefillin Wrap. Keep the mitzvah of tefillin, Moshe continued in Vahaya im Shemoah. Tefillin are made up of 2 small boxes attached to black leather straps. Each of the 2 boxes contains the first 2 sections of Shema Yisrael and Vahaya im Shemoah, together with another 2 sections.
That's a total of 4 sections.
Boy, you sure are a mathematical genius.
Use the straps to bind one of these boxes on your hand, for it is the shel yad, the hand tefillin. Position it on your left arm opposite your heart, the center of your emotions. Place the other one, the shel rosh, the head tefillin, on your head, the center of intellect. Remember, serving Hashem requires both your heart and your mind.
Okay, my heart and mind are both all set to serve Hashem.
Tefillin, called phylacteries in English, are worn every weekday.
Most Jews who wear tefillin do so during Shachris, morning prayers, which usually lasts anywhere from a half hour to an hour. On the other hand, there were some great people who wore tefillin the whole day long. The author of the Hagahos Maimonios relates in the name of Rav Amram Gaon, who lived around 1,200 years ago.
We saw the Gaonim, the heads of the court, and the giants of the previous generations who would not remove their tefillin until after the Shema of the evening service.
But it's not only the giants of the previous generations. Nowadays, believe it or not, if you go to Yerushalayim, you may see a few people wearing tefillin throughout the entire day.
But you'll have to look closely, since in order not to draw attention to themselves, they may hide the shel rosh under a hat and the shel yad under their jacket.
Wearing tefillin is an important mitzvah every single day of the week.
Almost.
Surprisingly, on the holiest day of the week, Shabbos, you won't catch anyone wearing tefillin.
No reminder needed on that day to be holy.
After all, we spent pretty much all day doing holy Shabbos stuff.
And eating some awesome, delicious Shabbos food.
Magnificent mezuzahs. Moshe continued speaking to Bnei Yisrael, and you shall write them on mezuzahs, the doorposts of your home and your gates.
Does that mean that you'll notice Jews writing on doorposts or gates?
It's impossible. Things like this can't happen.
No way!
Although the translation of mezuzah is doorpost, however, the mitzvah of mezuzah is to be placed on the doorpost. Think of the mezuzah like a mini Sefer Torah containing the first 2 sections of the Shema written by a professional sofer on a piece of parchment. This parchment is rolled up and placed in a case, which helps keep the letters from rubbing off, which would disqualify it from being a kosher mezuzah.
You can get mezuzah cases that are very beautiful and expensive.
But remember, it's what's inside of the case, the kosher parchment, that makes it a mezuzah.
Oh, so that's it.
A mezuzah case without a scroll inside is like a treasure chest without the treasure.
So what does a mezuzah accomplish?
Is a mezuzah a good luck charm?
No.
A security system?
Well, it's true that one of the names of Hashem, Shin Daled Yud, is written on the outside of the mezuzah.
Which stands for Shomer Dalsos Yisrael.
Meaning, Hashem is the guardian of Jewish doors.
However, even with a mezuzah, it's not a good idea to leave your front door open or unlocked, especially in a busy city.
Actually, the mitzvah of mezuzah is a chok.
Remember those?
One of those mitzvahs we do because Hashem told us to do it, without telling us the reason. But we do know that the mezuzah is a reminder that ultimately it's Hashem who protects us, Hashem whom we should love.
When you leave your house for the day
And kiss, touch, or just look at the mezuzah,
you're reminding yourself to take Hashem with you throughout the day.
and when you return home after a long day and see your mezuzah again, you do the same.
thanking Hashem for protecting you throughout the day.
And inviting him into your home to protect and love you and your family.
Mezuzah, a touching story. The Talmud tells the story of a famous convert to Judaism.
By the name of Onkelos.
His translation of the Torah into Aramaic, the language of the Talmud, is known as Targum Onkelos, and it is printed in just about every Chumash.
He was also the nephew of the Roman Emperor Titus.
Titus was furious to hear that his nephew had converted, so he sent advisors to schlep Onkelos back to him. They went as they were commanded, but failed their mission. Onkelos, in his very special way, patiently explained to them about the beauty of Torah and mitzvos. They were so inspired that they too converted to Judaism. Titus was exploding with anger. He sent another group of soldiers to Onkelos.
I command you,
He shouted,
this time I absolutely forbid you to speak to my nephew. Just bring him back, even by force.
The king's messengers did as they were commanded, but as they were dragging Onkelos out of the house, they noticed how he stretched out his arm and touched the mezuzah. Onkelos asked them.
Aren't you wondering what I was touching?
The soldiers nodded their heads, as if to say, sure thing, we'd love to know what you were doing.
Remember, they were forbidden to speak to Onkelos.
Onkelos explained to them.
What I touched is called a mezuzah. It shows us Jews that God, we call him Hashem, is the ultimate protector. Consider this. A human king sits inside his palace and needs many guards to protect him from the outside. However, in the case of Hashem, his servants are inside their homes, and he protects them from the outside. As the Pasuk in Tehillim says, Hashem will protect your departure and your arrival from now and forever.
The soldiers were inspired, and guess what?
They converted to Judaism too.
The emperor learned his lesson and gave up.
I'll never knock some sense into my nephew. I had it. Enough is enough.
By the way, based on this verse, Hashem will protect your departure and your arrival from now and forever, Rabbi Moshe Isserles,
1520 to 1572,
better known as the Ramah, writes in the Code of Jewish Law.
Some have the custom to place their hand on the mezuzah when they leave their home and say, Hashem will protect your departure. And the same when one enters the home. One should place one's hand on the mezuzah.
Shulchan Aruch Ramah Yoredeah, chapter 285, halacha 2.
and there's more.
Not only should one place one's hand on the mezuzah, according to Rabbi Yitzchak Luria,
also known as the Holy Arizal,
It's also a good idea to kiss the fingers that touch the mezuzah.
that's because after touching the mezuzah, the holiness is now transmitted to your hand.
yes, we Jews kiss holy objects, whether it's a Torah or even a Chumash. The roving rabbi. So Moshe Rabbeinu taught his nation about tefillin and mezuzah.
Get ready to learn about another rabbi
Also named Moshe,
who was also quite busy teaching his fellow Jews about tefillin and mezuzah.
Introducing the very special, wonderful Rabbi Moshe.
From a small town in France called Coucy.
One night, this great rabbi had a heavenly dream. In the dream, Hashem pleaded with Rabbi Moshe to travel to Spain.
Did Rabbi Moshe go back to sleep?
after all, it was just a dream.
Well, let's see.
Rabbi Moshe woke up.
What was that? A dream? It was no ordinary dream. It's a message, a mission, a heavenly mission.
Rabbi Moshe knew exactly what he had to do. He quickly packed his bags
Whether he put a Spanish dictionary into his suitcase is anyone's guess.
and traveled all the way to Spain. It wasn't an easy trip, but somehow, some way, he made it. The courageous and ambitious rabbi traveled from one community to the next throughout Spain.
And in an area of southern France called Provence.
He would get up on a stand and cry out passionately to his fellow Jews.
My people, the mitzvahs of tefillin, mezuzah, and tzitzis are so important. If you aren't yet doing these mitzvahs, now is the time to begin. Do not miss this opportunity.
Rabbi Moshe, tell us more. Why is it so important? We live amongst non-Jews in a non-Jewish country. They don't keep these mitzvahs and they're doing fine. Why should we?
And so he explained to them in the most beautiful, inspiring way.
He spoke and spoke.
And then he spoke and spoke even more.
And even more.
And more, a lot more.
Patiently and eloquently, Rabbi Moshe explained the mitzvos in a way only he knew how, until the people, young and old, began to understand that it was not a burden, but rather a privilege to observe these mitzvos. The deeply pious and sincere words of the rabbi from the small French town affected them greatly. In the words of Rabbi Moshe,
they returned by the thousands and tens of thousands to observe the commandments of the Torah. They began to wear tzitzis and tefillin and attach mezuzos to their doors, no longer ashamed to act as Jews among their non-Jewish neighbors.
Sefer Mitzvos HaGadol Mitzvos Essay, Simon 3.
Rabbi, the way you explained these few mitzvahs was so wonderful.
The people exclaimed.
Can you write it down in a book, please?
Yes, Rabbi. And while you're at it, can you explain all 613 mitzvahs of the Torah?
Rabbi Moshe was hesitant to do this. He felt that he was unworthy to write a book about such holy mitzvahs.
But one day, he had another heavenly dream. The message was clear.
Rabbi Moshe, write a book consisting of all 613 mitzvahs and make it interesting just as you did for the Jews of Spain.
Well, to make a short story long, I mean a long story short, that's exactly what he did.
He authored a book that became quite popular called Sefer Mitzvos HaGadol,
Or SMOG for short.
the Great Book of Mitzvos. It is read and learned until this very day.
And how do we know this story?
That's a great question.
It's all there in his book.
Oh, and one more thing. Rabbi Moshe of Kusi lived over 800 years ago, way back in the 13th century. So, come to think of it, it seems that Rabbi Moshe was the very first one to put up a tefillin booth.
I never knew that. So interesting.
Next week in Parshas Re'eh, Moshe talks a lot about cleanup time.
Cleaning up the Holy Land from idols.
This idol worship cleanup was crucial for the new and amazing era.
It's the time when Bnei Israel would be building the most important building in the entire world.
The Beis HaMikdash.
Moshe will also review some important laws, including the laws of keeping kosher.
There's never a dull moment here in the Book of Devarim as Moshe's speeches continues.